Yes, yes, we are live.
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
That song can never get old. Never get old.
The zoom and the angle.
Okay, trying something new here. Straight AMA. All right, we're back for round two. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe. I don't know how long I'm gonna go, but we might go for a while. How do I pull in comments from the stream? Because ideally, sorry, I'm doing this directly through Restream. But yeah, post any questions you have directly in the chat. Okay, I think here it is. Okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah, so we got a man. I'm sorry, hold on. Let's see. What's up, Danielle? Cheers. Yes, to the moon and beyond. Okay. Okay, so here we go. First question. So this is ask a crypto millionaire anything, any questions you want to know. I'm gonna do deep dive, not so much on coins, just more on like strategies, philosophies. Make sure your head is right as we're trying to make this money in crypto. So Dream Chasing says, what's the best way to invest, as in picking coins? Very good question. That's the question actually. And I always love talking about this because if you have that right, else kind of falls in place. So in terms of what's the best way to invest, this is the strategy I'm currently doing. So I currently have everything in Ethereum because I think Ethereum is a better investment than Bitcoin. I think Ethereum will surpass Bitcoin in market cap. Yes, it's controversial with some, especially with Bitcoin Maximals, but I think I'm right? And I'm willing to, I'm willing to die on that sword, basically, because I mean, obviously, without getting too deep into it, more developers are building on Ethereum actively each month. Ethereum has 10x the number of developers building on it than Bitcoin. And I think the use case of building the next internet is a much bigger use case than store of value. And if anything, I think whatever Bitcoin is doing can be tokenized and be done on Ethereum. I think Ethereum will eat Bitcoin. Wrap Bitcoin will become just the Bitcoin token because there's just more utility for Bitcoin on Ethereum. But anyway, sound? Can you guys hear me? Is there sound? Please double check if there's sound. I want to make sure there's sound before I keep on talking here. Please post in the comments if there's sound. Okay, not seeing any issues here with sound. But yeah, so anyway, I have all ETH. So let's say you have $100,000 to invest. Right? Sound good? Okay, yeah, $100,000 to invest. I'm not buying Bitcoin. I'm going straight to Ethereum, all ETH. Once you have Ethereum, then the goal is to find great projects. At this point, long-term projects. So we're long-term investing. We're not trying to do quick flips, pump and dumps, IDOs, ICOs, all that. Because this is what I've learned. Because I joined crypto in 2016. And while 2017, 2018 were good, we made a lot of money. I became a crypto millionaire, thank God. Right? I was fortunate and blessed. What I learned is this. You want to invest in something that has long-term staying power, something that will stay around and bounce back after a bear market and go past its all-time high. That's what you're investing in. So with me, it's not really about making quick money quickly. I'm trying to make long money, long term. So that's why I think the staples are projects like Chainlink, where I was in the private sale, projects like Synthetics, where I was in the private sale, but ended up getting out of it. And that's one that would just, yeah, I'll take that L on that one. But I mean, so we're finding these projects early on in the private sale, because if you try to trade these projects, that's not the right strategy. Yes, we'll make money, but you want to make generational wealth, because to get 1,000x return, you have to survive 1,000 crashes on that project, basically. So if you're trading, if you're not in it long term, you'll never live to get those 1,000x returns. Like even Bitcoin. Like how many times has Bitcoin died? Actually, pull this up here, right? How many? Let's say what Bitcoin deaths. There's a site that tracks how many times the media has said Bitcoin is dead. Now, let me share my screen here. Bear with me. I'm testing out. But basically, Bitcoin has died 399 times, right? So all these are obituaries for Bitcoin. It's kind of a joke, but I mean that's the thing. And this is Bitcoin. Altcoins probably even more, right? That's why I think to get 1,000x return, you have to survive 1,000 crashes in that token. Because if you go to any project, let's do Ethereum, right? Because actually, let's do BNB because BNB has had quite the week, right? Third in market cap. The ICO back in 2017, right? If we go out here, look at this. All-time low was 3 cents, basically 3.9. Let's say 4 cents. So this has been what, 7,000x return on Binance? Holy moly! I mean, over 3 years, right? 7,000x return. I mean, basically from 4 cents to $285 in 3 years. But if you look at this chart here, look at this. Obviously, I mean, most of that the alpha came from like the last 1 year or so. But if we actually like, let's just do the 1 year chart. Okay, this is not showing what I wanted to see here. Actually, let's go to. Sorry, I'm just trying to move the. Like all these are crashes. So imagine trying to trade here, trying to trade Binance, but if you knew Binance was the one, you basically lock that up, franchise tag that, marry it, and you just hodl. Right? I think that's where the real value comes from. So back to your question. Sorry, I'm kind of taking a long approach to answering your question, but I think it will cover the bases. The reason why you want to take a long approach, because that's where most of the gains come from. So how do I pick coins? My strategy now with Tokenmetrics, we're doing code reviews on projects. I think doing code reviews, going through the actual code, will give you a great filtration system on projects that are scams, right? In the past, while our strategy was good using fundamentals, I think fundamentals now in this market is very tough, especially in DeFi. Projects are launching with no white paper, just code, giving tokens to the community, and you have to get in early. So with me, I think looking at our analysis and what's been working best, code reviews. Projects with code reviews have been faring well in the last 1 year or so. So that's the first factor. Anything over 80% code review score. And then all the other metrics I keep on mentioning in the last shows, right? Low market cap. And then doubling down with projects that have good yield farming programs. Basically liquidity, mining. I mean, yeah, I would say liquidity pools and staking. So the best example of that right now, a project I'm very bullish on, I've talked about it before all the time in the last few shows. Let me go back to sharing my screen, is Amor. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. I want to see if I can. Is this? Okay, sorry, just give me a sec. I'm trying out different layouts. Okay, yeah, that's better. Amor, I mean, this to me, textbook 10x and more. Obviously not financial advice, just my opinion here. But market cap million, code review over 80%, right? So very low value, but a big problem in crypto. Basically insurance. And this is an issue that a lot of people have. DeFi, lots of DeFi smart contract projects are getting hacked, getting from whether they're using actual hacks on a smart contract or whether they're taking advantage of loopholes in the algorithm and using lending through Aave, basically flash loans to then basically take people's money. So this is low value, very undervalued in terms of market cap. And you do this by comparing this to other projects in the niche. And that's Nexus Mutual, which I've covered before as well. Nexus Mutual is $500 million market cap. This is an improved version of it. Right. So ideally, you want a project that you already know the landscape, right? insurance in DeFi is big. This project, NXM, is $500 million in market cap. And this project, I think, can get to a similar level or close. Maybe this can be number 2 and number 3 in that category. You factor all that in, and you add the staking rewards, paying out currently over 200% annually APY. I mean, that is how we make this money, right? Because every time I come here, I just drool. IG, I'm doing a live stream on youtube.com/tokenmetrics if you want to go see my screen. But I mean, because with this, right, I add liquidity to the pool on Uniswap, then they pay me back in their tokens, and a token that's undervalued. So we're double dipping. That's why I said this is almost like cheating. Like we're printing money, especially if this does a 10x or 1000x. Like imagine yield farming Chainlink, Aave, or Synthetics with 230% APY the early days. I mean, we would be buying basketball teams. I mean, at that level. I mean, so just kind of have that mindset. So projects that have good staking programs and rewards programs for this, even though it's not sustainable, this will help you weather the storm the first few months and maybe even the first year. And then once this does a 10x, you now want to hold even more, right? So that's kind of the strategy I have for picking coins. Basically, Tokenmetrics code review over 80% with a good rewards program, ideally over 100%, with a low market cap. Ideally, I would say under 30 million is when you want to get in, but sometimes you might miss the boat and you have to kind of get in later, maybe at 50 million or even 100 million. But those projects aren't going to get you the fast returns, right? The volatile returns, the positive volatility comes from projects that are undervalued that you get in early. So that's the approach. And then in terms of investing, you want to manage risk. So I put in at most 5% of my portfolio. So imagine I have a portfolio 100 grand in Ethereum. I take 5%, 5 grand, put that into AMR, right? Then I sit and wait for the next good project. You want to be selective. You don't want to just invest in everything. You want to invest in projects that have good code reviews based on our Tokenmetrics. We put out that newsletter every Tuesday, and then have good rewards programs. So you're double dipping, and that are undervalued with potential to do a 10x or more. And you keep on doing those bets, 5%, 5%, 5%. So like last month, my portfolio, the way it kind of worked out was basically 90% Ethereum, over 90% Ethereum. But now I'm down to 50% Ethereum, and the rest are in altcoins. And these altcoins are basically the ones I'm covering like this, right? Low cap projects where I get in early on exchanges through a DEX, through Money Exchange or any other DEX. And I put 5%. You don't want to put more than 5% into any project. Like unless there's a strong reason to, but you have to balance that. So for example, I percent into Opium. But the reason I felt confident doing that was for 2 reasons. One, the cap was larger. It was 100 million when I got in, so I was kind of late. So higher market caps, the stronger projects, less likely to do bad or crash. However, the returns won't be as large, but the rewards program on One Inch Exchange is literally just printing money. So let me pull this up here. So, so One Inch Exchange, if you go to DAO, farming, so they're paying out 183% in 1 inch and 35% in Opium. And what I care for is really the 1 inch tokens, because I'm very bullish on 1 inch. Once again, long-term play. This project I think is going to be top 20 market cap. That's basically my goal. Worst case, maybe top 40, right? So I'm basically earning 1 inch. Imagine being able to earn 123% on Chainlink or Aave back in the day. That would have been huge. Like the first 1 year, or Synthetics, a project that will do 100x or 1000x. Like imagine being able to get this APY back on Binance, on BNB tokens, when Binance before Binance did the 7,000x return. I mean, you'd be having lunch with CZ on your yacht. I mean, at that level, right? So that's the mindset. Long term is where the 1,000x returns are. Because I began staking this on the 30th of January, and I put it about 80 grand, and I've earned 7 grand. What's it? It is what, 21st? So I'm trying to find the date. I should know the date. What is the date? Somebody, sorry, I'm not seeing the comments yet. Today's. Okay, yeah, 21st. So 7 grand passively for money that this is not even my entire holdings for Opium or ETH. But in general, I would say you want to keep your yield farming is good, but you want to, I would not put everything at risk. So I would put 20% or less. So let's say, like, in this case, I put what, 80 grand. Let's say I had like what, 250, because with this, you have to provide both sides of the pair, right? So ETH and Opium. So in this case, I think this is what, 40 grand in Opium and 40 grand in Ethereum. I have staked on 1inch, and now I'm earning basically the dollar value of this in 1inch. And then if 1inch does a 10x, you're making even more, right? So to me, this is literally the blueprint. They're literally giving out money in DeFi and yield farming. I mean, they're just giving out money. Actually, I have a sound effect for that, I think. Give me 1 sec.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
I mean, they're just giving out money. Now, won't sustain long term, right? So add liquidity to these pools or do yield farming, the rewards go down. But to incentivize people getting in early, this is why the rewards are high. And impermanent loss is not really an issue, because I showed that this image here earlier, right? Basically, if a project does a 5x, you lose 25% on that. So are you willing to lose 25% to make 184%? I'll take that. In a project that can 10x, I'll take that, right? Because that's the strategy. That's what I'm doing to pick these coins. But yeah, definitely let me catch up in the comments here. Let me know what you think. If you're enjoying the stream, smash the like button, subscribe. And yeah, thank you for all the comments and the support. Okay, let me go back to the beginning. My take on Tailcoin. Tailcoin has it's done all right. I'm actually surprised it's bounced back, to be honest. But I mean, the team has been building. They did move to Dubai, but I haven't kept too much tabs on them. Aren't you concerned with Ethereum? Concerned for what? I'm not sure. I mean, Ethereum is the future. I mean, so I'm guessing you're probably saying, am I not having Bitcoin? I mean, first of all, as early investors, you have to be willing to be the only person on an island and be early. Like, if you want to be first and get these big products, and get these products early that will become the next big thing, you have to be in early before anybody is. And I mean, I'm very confident in our research abilities, being able to find these projects. Obviously, we're not perfect, but we have a very good track record. I mean, private sale of Chainlink, private sale of Synthetics, invested in Tezos. Like, if we go just down the list, let me go to like all these projects, like projects that we were early on. Let me screen again. All right, so Binance, that one I didn't. Polkadot, we knew Polkadot was going to be good tech-wise, but honestly, this was actually kind of a surprise that they launched in the bull market basically. The ICO did come out, but nobody wanted to wait for the tokens to come out for that long. Let's see here: Chainlink, Uniswap, that one. Aave. We covered Aave about a year ago, and that one has done very, very well. But that one we missed because when they launched in 2017, then they had a rebrand. Cosmos, that one we covered last year, but missed the ICO because most of these kind of were doing the ICOs more towards the bear market. EOS, I was investing in that one. Theta we covered, but didn't do the ICO. Tezos invested. Synthetics invested, then asked for a refund. And that one, the rest is history. But basically, going back to your question, I mean, am I concerned with Ethereum? No, Ethereum is the future. I mean, because Ethereum has 10 times more active developers monthly than Bitcoin. And to me, the use case of store of value is nice, but the internet is a much bigger use case. Imagine being able to invest in Google and Facebook, like not just those companies, but the whole internet, because all of DeFi is running on Ethereum. I mean, just think about it. All of DeFi is running on Ethereum. Like Ethereum is the internet, and this is a token you can invest in. So bringing this back up here, right? So if we go to DeFi Pulse, this is pretty much the homepage for everything DeFi. Think about this. We have over $40 billion in DeFi. Over 40 billion. We went from, so if we go to in the last 1 year in DeFi, we went from 1 billion to 40 billion. A 40x. And this is on Ethereum. And then I think we can get to 100 billion by this year. And if we get to 1 trillion, like all this is happening on Ethereum, not Bitcoin. Like this entire bull run is about DeFi. This entire bull run is basically DeFi. I mean, obviously Bitcoin is doing well as well, and so is Ethereum, but all these institutions, anybody who wants to build in crypto on blockchain is building on Ethereum. So Bitcoin to me is going to be just digital gold. So do you want to invest in digital gold or in the internet? To me, it's the internet. I'll take that bet any single day of the week. And it's also, in a way, it's an asymmetric bet or investment, because the chances of you being wrong are low. But if you're right, oh man, I mean, you're getting in early. Like Bitcoin to me is almost like a stable coin. Yes, it's great technology, but honestly, why are you buying gold or digital gold in a bull run when we're at the beginning of Web 3.0? It's like buying gold during the .com era. I mean, I'm missing on Google, on Amazon, on eBay. I mean, gold is nice, but gold is a hedge. Like we're not looking for hedges. We're looking for $1,000x returns. And the internet, like of finance, the disruption of finance and money is happening on Ethereum, Web3. So to me, that's the place. So I'm comfortable being on that island. I don't think it's a lonely island. I think it's an island that's lit. I mean, I think that's the party. But anyway, that's my take on that. Let me know what you guys think. Okay. Let me see what other question I can answer here. Hey, what's up? BTC motivation. Yeah, I'm back for more. Absolutely, we're back. I'm feeling it today. Okay, good question here. So Louis Cypher, do you still recommend investing in ICO projects? Honestly, oh man, like for me, I don't do ICOs anymore. Main reason, one, lack of liquidity, because anytime the project can change when they want to list a token or make it available. And for me, liquidity is the number one thing, because in crypto, you can wake up any day and it's down 40%. And if the whole market, if the party is over and we enter a bear market, I mean, best example is Sparks. They told us they would launch in 2 weeks, took 1 year to launch their token, right? I don't want to be held hostage like that again. So because I feel like when you go in speculating on a trade and the project forces you to turn that trade into an investment, that's where you get wrecked, right? And that's why lots of people got angry with Sparkster, because 1% of the money into that trade or speculation, right? And to manage risk, if you're speculating, if you're trading, I don't think you should put more than 1% into that trade. That's how you don't get wrecked. That's how you don't get emotional. You're like, okay, you know what? I lost. You know, But people get emotional when they put more than 1% into something that's speculative. An investment is different because you've done your research, the fundamentals, and it's something you're willing to hold long term. That's why I think 5% is better for an investment. But if it's a trade you don't want to hold long term, 1% is the most I would put in. Right? So when it comes to ICOs, people like, for example, PokerStarter. Let me actually pull this up here. I did have this up recently somewhere. Right? So right now, Polkadot and PokerStarter is the hype. It's the wave. Everybody's making money. You know, it's hard to get in. There's FOMO everywhere. Okay, right? FOMO everywhere. Let me, how do I? Right? It's FOMO everywhere, right? So look, all these projects like Fractal, Poker Markets, Public Mint, people are just FOMO projects with no research, no due diligence, just because others will FOMO into it. This is basically the greater fool theory, right? You believe that I don't care about the fundamentals on this project because it's pumping, and somebody else, some other fool, this. That works until the music stops playing. It's basically musical chairs, stops playing. You wake up one day, everything's down 40%. There's a liquidity crisis, right? You get rug pulled. It dries up real quick. Right? It's basically like the SWAT team just busted up the party, and you get wrecked. Right? If you have to sell, if you can sell, the slippage will kill you. Right? And you basically just take that L out of nowhere. Best example, as I said, pandemic, March last year, alts down 40% in one day. Right? And nobody wants to, then people get risk averse. Nobody wants to FOMO or buy anything else. People go to Bitcoin or stable coins. So like all these projects like Pay Network, right? Friend of mine, Kyle, doing a good job. But I mean, all these on Polkadot are not ready. That's why they're raising in Ethereum, right? Their Polkadot projects are raising on Ethereum. Mixing mobiles on Ethereum because Polkadot mainnet is not ready. So how can these projects be ready? So they have no utility. So this is why, I mean, I don't do it because, first of all these projects are speculation, and I'm not really a speculator. I like to do fundamental research and bet on the long term. But I mean, if you're trying to make your money, I can see that, right? But you have to have the mindset that this is for trade. Don't put more than 1% of your portfolio into any of these projects. Good friend of ours, you know, this is probably the pump of the month. Like there's so much FOMO on this project, but I would not put more than 1%. For example, where people get wrecked, I've heard these stories, and it's very like disheartening to hear these stories. Like people would be like, "Oh, you know what? This is Elliott Trader's project. Of course, it's going to pump," and they'll bet the house. They'll put 50% of the portfolio into any of these projects, expecting to flip it real quick. But let's say something random happens, a black swan event, like last year, right? Trump wakes up in the morning, says, "You know what? We're blocking all flights into America. The entire economy is shut down." Hedge funds begin to sell Bitcoin. They sell Bitcoin, drops 30%. Then they sell Ethereum. Then see that they get out of altcoins. Altcoins get wrecked, go down 40%. Liquidity dries up, right? So if this project launches during that time or unlocks, doesn't matter how good it is, wrecked. Or let's say there's some other issue. SEC says, "You know what? DeFi projects or securities." Wrecked, right? So these black swan events are what wreck you. So you want to be able to know that if you're never more than 1%, even NFTs, if you're doing NFTs, not more than 1%. So that's kind of the mindset I have. So that's why I don't do ICOs, because right now, to me, liquidity is the main thing. I'm trying to only touch projects already trading on exchanges. But if you're trying to make your money, hey, do it. You know, if you can get 1,000x on Superfarm, on Option Room, Pay Network, do it. Just don't put more than 1%. That's why people get wrecked. And that's why, like, I don't really, like, even with projects I lost money on, it seemed like I didn't care because I managed my risk. I mean, I put in only what I was willing to lose. And if you're putting in, if it's an investment and you're only putting in 5% and you're willing to lose that 5%, hey, if you end up losing it, okay, you live to fight another day. If it's a speculation, if you're just in it for pump and dump and you put 1% or less of your portfolio and you lose, hey, you got 99 other shots to take, right? So there's no reason to be crying over a trade or an investment. If you start crying over a trade or an investment, lesson is portfolio allocation. And here's the thing, right? To make money in crypto or anything in life, I've said this before in the show that we're financial athletes playing a game of science, right? Financial athletes playing a game of science. So we have to think and train like athletes, right? Like imagine you're LeBron James, Ronaldo, Messi. Like this is your life. This is not a hobby. Like this is business. I mean, it's a weekend. Sunday, 8 p.m. here in Austin, and I'm here doing live streams, right? Researching and doing crypto. But like this is it. This is 24/7. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle commitment. And then I say science because the market does not care about your feelings. Like this is like Mother Nature. You'll keep on facing the same issue until you learn the lesson from that. So make my picture bigger, hard to watch. Okay, sorry, let me turn off this, right? So I say it's a science because if you're trying to go to the moon and build a spaceship, the laws of physics don't care about your feelings. Like you have to obey them by the book. Otherwise, your rocket ship dies. And that's why, like, even with SpaceX, their first 3 missions failed because they were not obeying the laws of physics. So they figured out, okay, we have to fix this and this and this and that. And then it worked the 4th time, I believe. So same thing with investing. Like the market does not care about your feelings. No matter how many, like, for example, let's say that you're betting 50% of your portfolio on speculation, on trades, on this pump and dump IDOs, ICOs, whatever, right? You might win here or there, but eventually long term, the market is always right. Mother Nature, long term, you'll end up taking that L and getting wrecked. So I shared a story of somebody who did just that. They put 50% of their portfolio into one project. Then that project basically did a rug pull. Liquidity dried up, and basically went to, because of lack of being able to sell your tokens. And then that made this person, because he put his life savings, like imagine you have 100 grand, you put 50 grand into one project, some shitcoin basically, and then you have 50 grand left now because you can't sell the other tokens because there's no liquidity because of a rug pull. And now you try to gamble even more to make the money you lost. Now you become even more reckless, and you double down and invest into a different project with the other 50 grand, and you get wrecked. That's how people lose money. And that's what we're trying to solve with Token Metrics, right? You have a team of, you have our entire team available here on YouTube for free. Then if you like, you also have us available through our product, tokenmetrics.com, through our newsletter, the site, the groups. And that's how we're trying to prevent this from happening. But even this, like, that's why I'm still going overtime, because I want to get this out, because right now people are making money, but you have to manage that risk. So being able to go through all those rules and checklists, that's kind of I think the best approach. Anyway, I've been rambling. How you guys doing? Also doing a stream on YouTube, youtube.com/tokenmetrics, if you want to see my screen where I'm sharing. Let's take a question from IG here. Do ICOs now it's liquidity? Yes, I mean, because ICOs are good to do if you're trying to make your money quickly. But once you've made your money, like, well, now I'm comfortable. I can take a long-term approach. So it's kind of like if you're trying to build up your portfolio, yes, do those quick flips. But once you have a big enough portfolio, I would say in the high 6 figures or 7 figures, now your risk appetite decreases, and yet you're now looking for sure things that is still undervalued, but you kind of seen the market for a long time, and you want to make sure what you're getting into. You're trying to protect your wealth. You want to protect and build your wealth. But when you're just getting in with a low portfolio, you're trying to build your wealth, right? So you can take a lot more for the fences, but you also have to manage that. And with me, like, because I'm not just out here trying to build a portfolio for like $1,000 or 10 grand. Like when I'm investing 6 figures, right? So I need to be able to sell 6 figures if there's a liquidity crisis. And there are very few coins where you can, like, even with this low market cap coins like Idle Finance, I wanted to get even more. I only got like 20 or 30 grand worth because that was the only thing available at that time without having too much slippage on one inch exchange. So because the slippage for that was like 5%, anything more than that, I would have been wrecked basically. But probably might have been worth it long term, like super long term, but still I don't want to invest where I'm moving the market too much. And then same thing with these tokenized projects, right? Like to me, I want projects that have actual utility now, and DeFi does that. And these projects, they're launching with actual utility. Like all these DeFi projects they launch, you can actually use them, and they're liquid because they have this incentive programs. And I'm basically kind of doubling down on that. So I'm adding liquidity to the pools, and to me, that's working. ICOs were good, but for me, it's right now at my level, it's not the best approach. But if you're starting out, I can definitely see, because I mean, like Paid Network, for example, did a 50x. Actually, met somebody, one of our friends and customers actually invested in it, made 50x. He's good. I told him, hey, take profits. That, like, these projects are not functional at the moment because Polkadot is not functional. So they're pump and dumps. When the music stops, make sure you're taking profit. And once you do that, then you're good. Then you're Gucci. Okay, let's take one more question from IG. Do I still hold Pundiak? No, got out of that a long time ago. Ian, where can we learn more about liquidity pool strategies? Which pools to invest in, large cap versus small cap? Yes, good question, Amir. So let me share my screen, because this was a question somebody asked on the other live stream as well. So I want to kind of go through what I'm currently doing. So if you want to see my screen, go to youtube.com/tokenmetrics, and I'll go through what I'm currently doing, right? So because I can talk about it, but I can show you what I'm actually doing now and show you what I'm doing to make money. Okay, so basically my preferred platform right now for yield farming is 1inch Exchange. Basically, for those who don't know yield farming, you're basically incentivized to provide liquidity, and by adding liquidity, you then get those tokens, right? So in this case, going through, I'll show you what I'm currently providing liquid exchange. If this can sort. Anyway, so I have 50 grand on Ethereum and Torn liquidity, 80 grand on this one. So basically, to be an LP, you have to provide for both pairs, 50%. And I have Ethereum, right? Because I told you when I began, pretty much my whole portfolio is in ETH. So anything with an ETH pair, I'm adding liquidity to if it's in my portfolio, and I can get APY on staking or the farming of over 100%, ideally. So for example, I put 80 grand into OPM and ETH. So basically 40 grand into OPM and 40 grand into ETH. Now, I'm not putting more than 20, 25 of my holdings in that token. So for example, if I have like OPM, I'm probably depends on the volume and what happened, what's acceptable on the transaction, but basically like a quarter or so. Right? So if I have 40 grand of this, I have basically like 160. Huh? That's sorry. I have to double check something. But anyway, basically a quarter of that. But anyway, you basically you add your liquidity. So I add ETH. Come here, click the plus sign. Right? You add liquidity. So in this case, right? So I already had ETH. I added ETH. Then I added OPM. Don't put everything, because even though 1inch is a good platform, it's gone through multiple audits. So I trust this more than a random degen site. You still don't want to put everything there. Just once again, good risk management. You want to live to fight another day, right? So in this case, I would put a quarter or a fifth of whatever you have for opium, right? And when you put in that amount, it should calculate this for you, right? So let's say you wanted to add what 50 grand. We'll go through and calculate this for you, right? Then it will find the right balance of ETH to add to that. So you add that liquidity. They then give you LP tokens. Those LP tokens basically represent your ownership in that pool. Then you take those tokens and you stake them. And the reason you do this is because they want you to add liquidity, to bootstrap liquidity for their pair on this exchange, and don't you to stake it so it's off of so it's not really being used. Those tokens are transferable, and you can actually trade them, but most dexes or platforms don't want you to trade those, right? So they tell you to stake them, and they incentivize you by giving you APY, basically by giving you their token. So in this case, for example, where was that? Right, opium, right? I staked 80 grand ETH, 40 grand in opium, and I've made 7 grand in less than a month. And opium rewards are not being shown here, right? So you stake them here and you earn passive money, right? So the platforms I use, 1inch, I basically just come here to the pools and I go through every token in my portfolio, right? I put in Torn and I see what's available, right? They have this here. Then I have Idle. Idle's not available, right? I have, what else do I have? I had opium, right? You just go through your entire portfolio, but you want to make sure that it's also available for farming, because if there's no farming, I'm not adding liquidity to the pool, really. There's no reason, because before you can get an impermanent loss. Because sorry, it looks like my screen just switched on me. Sorry, because my iPad just died. Okay, that makes sense. Let me just fix this. Give me 1 second. Got it. Sorry, people. Let me just charge up my iPad so I can see what I'm presenting here. Okay, all right, we're back. Okay, so I want to make sure it's available here, right? So I went through, I have Torn. So the APY when I began was like over 300%, I think. But obviously the APY is not sustainable. As more liquidity is added, it decreases, right? So for example, I'm farming Torn on 1inch exchange. Then same thing with SushiSwap, right? So all these different dexes, if we go to, you go to sushiswap.fi, you go to farm, you go to all, and same thing, you go through all your tokens in your portfolio that you believe in long term. So once again, I just put in Idle, and Idle is not available on 1inch exchange. However, it's available on SushiSwap, and they're paying 86% APY. Now, all these platforms are giving you this reward in their tokens. So you're basically earning sushi. And sushi is a project I think will stay around long term, because if we go to CoinGecko and we go to sushi, 5th in market cap, which is a good vote of confidence. And if we go to the price, right, the tokens are giving you, they're up 146% in the last 1 month, right? And if we go to, from the all-time low back in November last year, from 47 cents to $16. I mean, that's in less than 6 months. In 4 months, it's done a 34x in 4 months. And those are the tokens they're paying you in. I mean, so when we say we're making money, we're literally just printing money, right? So we come back here, right? These are the tokens. So I had no idea actually IDA was available on here until recently. So you come here and you go through your entire portfolio. So Idle, because they're always adding new farms and things like that, right? So I noticed that SushiSwap has Tornado available, and then they're paying 107%, right? So this is a lot better than this, right? But the downside is, so I've made basically in 1 inch since I began staking on the 9th. Oh, sorry, farming on the 9th. That's when I think they unlocked or became transferable. I basically earned 1,600. Not too much, but if I wanted to withdraw, the downside is the fees. That's where they get you, right? So the fees, because with me, like, let me see if I can do this. Like, the fees on this would basically be like $500, like gas fees. So do I want to lose $500 out of my 1,600 just on gas fees, just to switch over to this liquidity pool? No, right? So what I did is I just added more. So now I'm doing both, right? So I'm doing this for 107, right? And I'm doing this for 70%, right? Because it fluctuates and you don't want to try to hop back and forth and lose money on gas fees. So that's why I'm doing both on there, right? But SushiSwap is definitely one to keep an eye on. Go through your entire portfolio. Like even AMR was available, I believe. Yes, so 182%. But for here, right, this is where you have to kind of keep track on all these different platforms: SushiSwap, 1 inch exchange, and even their own projects. So here, am I doing this? I don't think I'm doing this, right? 182% is good. However, if you go directly to AMR's site on amr.fi and go to liquidity rewards, if you just add liquidity to Uniswap, you're basically getting 230%, right? Because I already had ETH, I already had AMR. So when I got in, I went to Uniswap. But if we go to all the other pairs they have, SushiSwap is actually now higher. Okay, 271%. So I'm not even sure how they're calculating this. Maybe it's just the calculation, because here's 271%. Here it's 182%. So I'm not sure if it's the same thing or if they have different ways they're calculating it. Maybe one's based on an average or moving average. But anyway, I did think about switching, but I've not switched yet, because 271 versus 230 is good, but obviously you lose money in transaction fees when you switch. Then 1 inch is 207, right? So here I'm not doing 1 inch. So I've just been doing Uniswap. But because I think SushiSwap might have launched later. And I think that's why I did Uni first, because had I known, I would have gone straight to SushiSwap. Because these rates are variable. They just change as more liquidity is being added. But I mean, once again, this is easy money. I'm basically getting, so I've done this for about a week, I think. I've earned basically 1,700 tokens. The price of AMR is $1. So basically, I've earned $1,700 just staking and adding liquidity to Uniswap directly on their site, and then staking that. So I mean, easy money, and the token I'm earning is in AMR, which is actually even better, right? Because if you do it directly here on Sushi, okay, yeah, that makes sense why the ROI is like this. Sorry. So if you add liquidity and stake directly on SushiSwap, they're paying you in Sushi tokens, which is good. I mean, I like that too. But Sushi's market cap is 2 billion, right? And it's already done at 34x from all-time high. But AMR market cap 30 million, just getting started, right? So if we go to, so I would rather get paid in AMR tokens than Sushi tokens. So this is why I like that. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm also doing benchmark protocol, same thing, right? I went through 1 inch exchange. They didn't have it here. Actually, I think Sushi might have had Mark, did they? So they didn't have it. So basically, you try everything. You try the site for the project and see if they have their own staking program directly on the site. That's why having projects that are already functional helps. Like AMR can do this because they're already functional. Polkadot projects, not all can do this. If they're doing it, they're kind of doing it through a roundabout way, through Ethereum or through some other project, then they'll probably do a bridge. But same thing with benchmark, right? If I can connect my wallet, right? So this is 121% APY, right? and I have 3% ownership of this pool for Mark ETH. But that's basically what I'm doing. So Benchmark and AMR is directly on the site because they aren't available. But I would say typically the site of the project is probably the best place to begin because you probably earn that project's tokens. If you can't do that, if there's nothing there, then go to the DEXs like SushiSwap and 1inch Exchange. But basically, that's basically what I'm currently doing for yield farming and liquidity pools. Okay, let's get back to the questions. What's up, IG? You guys falling asleep? Polkadot 6-month prediction. Bullish in Polkadot, but I think Polkadot is going through the 2017 ICO bubble that Ethereum did. Right now, kind of like in 2017, there were no Ethereum dApps that people were actually using besides CryptoKitties. But now DeFi is pumping because people can actually use these dApps like I just showed you, right? AMR, Benchmark Protocol, SushiSwap, 1inch Exchange. Those are built on Ethereum, actually running. Polkadot is not there yet. Polkadot is going through what Ethereum did in 2017. So basically, long story short, speculation, pure trades. Won't put more than 1% into any of the trades. Don't fall in love with it. Polkadot as a project is good long term. Great technology. Could score over 90%. So long term, Polkadot is good. Polkadot is the next Ethereum. Long term. But I think next bull run is where it would really grow, right? So if you're holding it for years, you're good with Polkadot. But not financial advice. Okay. Thank you, Surf. I appreciate the comments. If you're enjoying the stream, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, share this with your friends, crypto family, spread the world, tell a friend to tell a friend. Not being in crypto is a financial crime. I mean, I just showed you we're printing money, literally. That's kind of the irony, right? We're talking about fiat and printing money, but we're out here printing tokens, right? I mean, because AMR 1,700 in like a week or two, a week and a half, then $7,000 with opium. I mean, this is where it's at. Like, who needs a savings account? Like, we're becoming our own banks, and this is why we're here. Okay, question from Twitter from Violet. Hi, Ian. Doesn't supply affect price? Coins with billions of supply can only go so high, right? Good question. Good question. Yes, supply. You have to factor in supply, but it's not really the number of tokens per se. Because let me bring up my screen again. So, for example, if we go to SushiSwap, the supply here is 250 million is the max supply. Currently, there are 196 million, and only 127 million are circulating, meaning that they're liquid on exchanges and can be transferred and all that. But in general, what you have to look at is the market cap and the inflation of the supply. How often are new coins being minted? So, for example, Ethereum has no max supply, but that's not really an issue because it's what we call reducing inflationary. The supply is reducing, and it's basically an asymptote line, I believe is what it's called, and it's decreasing and getting closer to zero, but never quite hits zero, right? So if you see here, it has infinity, but you're saying why isn't that an issue? So let me get Ethereum supply schedule. If we just pull this up here in Google, to find a good graphic to kind of represent why it's not really an issue with Ethereum. So actually, I think maybe Masari might have this. All right, Ethereum. Sorry. So yeah, this isn't the chart I'm looking for. I'm looking for maybe profile, consensus and emission. Okay, anyway, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me just say yeah, so basically this is what we're looking at, right? So the supply schedule for Ethereum began high early on, but decreases and approaches zero, but never quite hits zero. So eventually it'll end up being like 0.0000000, not quite zero, right? So that's why it's not really an issue, because eventually it'll be close to zero, right? So going back to your question in terms of why it's not an issue. So projects like EOS, right? You basically have three supply schedules. You have inflationary, where the supply is just increasing. Then you have deflationary, where it's decreasing and eventually hits zero, like Bitcoin. Bitcoin has 20 capped Bitcoin. What supply every halving halves in half until it hits zero. So basically, it will be very, very, very scarce. Ethereum is doing the same thing, except it never hits zero. It will just kind of get close to zero, keep on halving until it becomes almost negligible, right? But basically, it gets close to zero, but never quite hits zero, because you want to, or rather, Ethereum wants to be able to create more Ether, right, and have that control. But they want to make sure it's not affecting the supply long term, right? So that's why it basically reduces. And then you have fixed supply schedule like EOS. EOS has, I believe, 4.5%. So every single year, annually, it's the same percentage. Now, I think that's the worst, because those projects are just keep on printing tokens at the same level forever, right? And I think that's partly why EOS might not be doing too well. But reducing inflationary, I think, makes more sense. Most of the projects in DeFi kind of have that same approach. They launch early on with no tokens in circulation, and they're just printing money or printing tokens through APY and yield farming and other incentives. But eventually, it stabilizes and then decreases gradually. So I think that's what. So I think that's why it's not really a factor. But I mean, that's something that remains to be seen long term. Some sites do factor in the fully diluted market cap, but right now I don't think it's really something that's used by retail investors or traders much. So to me, it's not really big of a factor. So I hope that helps. Let me just make sure I have. Okay, IG. I think we're about to hit the limit for the stream, but hope you all enjoyed this live stream on IG. I'll keep on doing the live stream on YouTube. So if you want to catch me there, just go to youtube.com/tokenmetrics. Okay, and I'll see you next week as well on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you, IG. Okay, all right. We're still going. It's 9 p.m. here, but we are rolling. We are rolling. So let me just let me continue here. Okay, what's the next question? Okay, this comments are going way too fast for me to keep up with. Are you going to have farming on token metrics? That's something we want to work on in the future, to add farming. So with 2.0, I want to be able to add farming liquidity pools into the analysis with our AI. So it's definitely something in the roadmap, but it might take a while. Okay, I heard those who are in regulated states get it by, I'm not sure what that is in reference to. Hi from Australia. Hey, what's up? I love Australia. Sydney, Melbourne, the land down under. Okay. Okay. Skylar says, for all the newbies here with low money, don't stake or yield farm on Ethereum tokens. The fees will wreck you. Yes, I agree. Ethereum, unfortunately, right now, because of the gas fees, is really for whales or people who have, I would say, 6 figures or more to invest or farm. Well, not farm, but I would say in their portfolio, right? So if you're just starting out, I would say, honestly, Binance smart contract chain is better because lower fees, but the products there are not as good. So treat them as a trade, as speculation, not as an investment. So I would not put more than 1% into any of those products on Binance Smart Chain, and don't fall in love with them. Make your money, get in, get out, basically, right? Because when the music stops, you want to make sure that you've cashed out, basically, or you're liquid. Okay. The Crypto Jedi says, if you can do only one yield farming opportunity that you have shown us, which one would you do? I'm a new Token Metrics member as well. Oh man, that's what's up.
We just
Customer in the
landed on the
house.
moon in
I
a
love it.
Lambo.
Thank you for being a customer. Okay, what do you do with liquidity tokens they give you on 1inch? Okay, yeah, good question, right? So let me just kind of go through that again. So what you do is, so let's say 1inch exchange, they add a new trading pair. Basically, let's say ETH and Tornado, right? I'll do Tornado because I've been doing that one a lot recently. Okay, so let me pull this up here. So Tornado actually is, first of all, very bullish on that project, as I mentioned before. So where's 1inch? I went to 1inch. That first day or so when they launched, the APY was over, I think it was like 283%. So, but obviously it's now decreased to 70%. But hey, not bad. Beats the savings account. Beats just having those Torn tokens in my wallet doing nothing. So I come here and I add liquidity here. So to incentivize you to provide liquidity on the DEX, because 1inch exchange, SushiSwap, Uniswap, they're exchanges, they're decentralized exchanges, and they need liquidity because they follow what's called an automated market maker model or principle, right? So to do that, they need us to add liquidity that people can use to trade with, right? So by me adding Tornado and Ethereum into the pool, other people can come and buy and sell. I'm adding liquidity for that. Now, I do take the risk of impermanent loss, meaning that going through, like let's say Tornado Cash goes up 500%, I'm better off just holding as opposed to having that sold into Ether. But on the other hand, right, to incentivize you to still do that despite that risk. Where was that image? This image, right? So let's say Tornado goes up 500%. I lose 25% just by being in that liquidity pool. That's what's called impermanent loss. But to incentivize you to still add liquidity, that's why the APY is high. So 1inch says, okay, anybody who adds liquidity to this trading pair will give you 70% APY in 1inch tokens. So meaning if you add $100,000 worth so basically 50 grand of ETH, 50 grand in Torn equals 100 grand, we'll give you $70,000 over 1 year if you add that liquidity for 1 year. And 70 grand in 1inch exchange tokens. That is good money, right? Despite the impermanent loss, right? That's why, to me, impermanent loss is not really an issue if you're finding good projects that have good yield farming rewards. It's a moot point, especially if 1inch token can do a 10x. That's 70 grand to 700 grand. I mean, that's how we make money. That's how we get crypto retirement, crypto rich. So that's basically the approach. So these exchanges give you incentives. So what you do is, before even doing this, right, because you have to deposit ETH Torn tokens. And you're like, what the hell is that? So you have to go to the pool here and you put in ETH and Torn, and here's the pool, right? So you then add liquidity. So in this case, I've added 50 grand of liquidity. And when you add liquidity, they give you an LP token, a liquidity pool token for this pair, right? So if you go to your Ethereum wallet, it appears there. Once you have that LP token, you then take that to farming and you stake that here. So you come here, right? It says deposit one. So in this case, it's called 1LP-ETH-Torn. That's the LP token. So you deposit that there. Once you do that, then you start earning this APY. And whenever you want to get out, just come here. You can just claim your tokens. Let's say you don't want to get out, but you want to claim the tokens. Let's say I want to sell. So let's say I want to sell my 1inch. I have 7 grand I've earned in less than a month. Let's say I want to pay my rent, but not something I would do. But let's say you wanted to do that, right? You come here, claim the token. Then you pay the gas fees. That's the other downside. But let's say gas fees are $400, $500. That's still over 6 grand you've earned in less than a month. And tokens you already had in your portfolio that you already believed in long term. So this is like passive money. Well, let's say you want to completely withdraw everything, right, and get out of the liquidity pool. Then you come here and withdraw. So that's the strategy. Sorry, I forgot what other part of the question was. But basically, that's it, right? That's liquidity mining, liquidity pools. You first add liquidity, you get an LP token, then you you farm that. Now I do everything through MetaMask and through Ledger. So typically you have to do multiple transactions. So you have to deposit. So coming here, you deposit. Let's say I wanted to add more. I have to first unlock these tokens and give 1inch access to them. So this will be one transaction for ETH, then one for Tron. But I've already done this already. So this is why it's not appearing this for me. But let's say I wanted to do a new pool. Let's say I got into perp actually. Yeah, there's no pool for that. What pool don't I have? Let's say I have wrapped Bitcoin and ETH, right? So the LP pools also give you tokens as well. They also give you APY on this. So in this case, let's say I had wrapped Bitcoin. I'll come here, unlock it, giving permission to this DApp, 1inch exchange, to access my wallet. That's one transaction. Then also do this additional transaction to then deposit the liquidity, one for DAI, one for WBTC, one for ETH, and then get that token, the LP token, and then take that and then deposit that there. So lots of transaction, lots of fees, but it can be very lucrative, right? So that's why it's the talk of town or talk of crypto. Right. Okay, I'm sorry. So the other part of the question was if I can only do one. Okay. Sorry. So that is tough. So if I could only do one, I would do 1inch. First of all, you have to kind of think of this in groups, right? So you have 1inch, you have SushiSwap, and you have directly on the project itself. So if I could only do one, first of all, I would do 1inch because I think 1inch is more undervalued, right? If we go to, right, SushiSwap is $2 billion market cap, 1inch is $500 million, right? So 1inch is a quarter the size of SushiSwap, and I think so. I'd rather have those tokens because they're more undervalued and can appreciate more. But however, right now, I'm really liking AMR. Low market cap plus the tokens I'm earning are in AMR, not in 1inch, because 1inch, despite being good, is $500 million market cap. SushiSwap is $2 billion market cap. So those tokens, they're already large, but AMR, 30 million market cap, right? And this can 10x, and I'm earning in their tokens 230%. So imagine I earn, so in a week or so, I've earned 1,700, right? Let's do some quick math here, right? Let's say 1,700. Let's say this stays like this, even though it's likely going to decrease. Let's say it stays like this for 4 months. That's $6,800 in a month, almost $7,000. Let's make it simple, $6,000 in a month, right? And let's say that's all I do. And let's say those tokens do a 10x, $60,000. Right? So that's the power of yield farming the right tokens. So if I could only do one, I'm loving Emma right now, Emma.fi. If I could do one other one, which I'm doing, and it's actually Tornado Cash. So if we go to Tornado, so I'm actually doing both. So I'm doing Tornado on 1inch exchange. And I think Tornado this can do very well. I think this could be like top 50 market cap. So if we go to Tornado here, now it's 246 in market cap, right? So if we're going to 150, so basically I think this can do a 10x from here, honestly. I think Tornado should be over $1 billion in market cap, assuming everything stays the same, right? So basically I think this can go to 3,900, almost $4,000 price target for that. That's my opinion, not financial advice. So if it goes to $1 billion, that would put it, where would I put it? 75, 76 in market cap. So I'm thinking, is Tornado better than Digibyte? I think so. Near Icon, right? So I think it should definitely be top 100 market cap easily. Right now, because of privacy, and there aren't too many centralized exchanges listing it, but you have to factor this in, right? They have optional privacy. So you can be compliant. You can prove that this is your transaction if needed. So right now it's only on Poloniex, but honestly, to enter top 100 market cap, all it needs is one or two centralized exchanges. Honestly, just one, because we're going here. Most of the volume is on one each exchange, and then Uniswap. Yeah, Poloniex has nothing, but maybe because it's privacy coin. But if Binance adds this, I mean, to the moon and beyond. I think Binance could be like one. We need one central exchange to add this. I think then I think this can really move, right? But it's still done pretty well, you know. Can be better. It's up 90%, 91% in the last 2 weeks, but I think this is still very undervalued. But anyway, back to being a farmer, right? So I just on 1 inch at 70%. I'm doing it there, and then I'm also doing it here on SushiSwap at 107%, right? And then I'm also doing anonymity mining that I began this week or last week, in the last few days or so, right? Because it's still kind of hit or miss, but I think it's going to be worth it long term. So if you come here to tornado.cash and you go to launch the app, this is why I like Ethereum, because all these apps are actually running already. While Polkadot, great technology, but too early, right? So, sorry, just give me 1 second. Looks like it's, so I'll go through what what anonymity mining is. Basically, Tornado Cash is a Ethereum privacy mixer. You come here, you deposit your ETH, 0.1 ETH, 1 ETH, 10 ETH, 100 ETH, and you send it there. And then it sends it to a different Ethereum wallet address, and it breaks the transaction so nobody can track you. So very good for privacy. But if you need to, for compliance, to show, hey, this is actually me, not just some random address, you can always prove that using on-chain data. So, but the way that the mixer works is they have a pool. That's why the amount here to deposit is fixed. It works for ETH and stablecoins. But basically, they have, let's say they have a pool of Ethereum, basically a smart contract address. You send ETH to it in batches. So each pool, so let's say there's a pool for 100 ETH, and this pool has $500 million worth of ETH, right? But each transaction is 100 ETH. That's how. So they make it hard to track, because let's say it's 500 million divided by 100 ETH. Those are the number of transactions you have to go through and track manually if you're trying to track somebody down. But they're all the same size, so it becomes a pain, right? So they're mixing everything up into one pool, and then they have a different smart contract pool with the same amount of money that they then use to your money to a new totally random address you make up or you create. So there's no hop connecting this transaction to your withdrawal. So you deposit into a pool and you withdraw to a different address. That's how you become basically private through this. Now, to make this work, they need lots of money in each pool. So in this pool, and this pool, and in this. So what I did, just to kind of test out and try the liquidity mining, the anonymity mining, I deposited 10 ETH because 100 ETH was just too much. I mean, because the incentive they have to incentivize people to add liquidity to their mining program is kind of like a lottery. Not a lottery, but the amount you earn is not fixed. So if we go to, there's actually a blog post on this. If I could find this, that's why it's kind of confusing, but I think it's going to be worth it. Basically, you have 1 year. The incentive program runs for 1 year. It's hard to figure out. It's based on how many people deposit, how many people withdraw, right? It's based on this formula. So where's that? Yeah, anonymity mining. If you just go to their last media post, it kind of describes it. Basically, they're giving out this amount. So you deposit your Ethereum, and they issue you a different token called AP. AP. So in this case, they're giving out 50 AP per block if you deposit 10 ETH, and they're giving out 400 AP per block if you deposit 100 ETH. But I mean, that's a lot of money. That's what, 200 grand almost. Yeah. And basically, Once you do that, you then have to convert. So let me go back here to the dApp. So basically, you deposit 10 ETH. They then give you a secret key, which you have to store somewhere secret. Whether probably more like, I would probably recommend storing it on a USB drive that's encrypted. Actually, one I recommend, I don't think I have it here with me. Yeah, I don't have it with me. But basically, you can encrypt it either using software or just through, just buy like those hardware encrypted USB drives, or just even a hard drive. You store that somewhere safe. Once you do that, you come here to mining. Actually, maybe I can do this. Let me connect to my wallet. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, it'll be a lot easier. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I want to make sure I'm not it's not pulling out my secret key here. Okay, so just bear with me here, because we are doing this live here. Okay, yeah, it's gonna be tough to show that. But anyway, you guys can try this on your own. But let me bring the screen back up. You basically come here, you go to mining, and so let me go through what I did. Right, I added 10 ETH to this pool. It gives you a secret key, a long hash password, basically. That's just for you. Nobody else should have this. Otherwise, they basically have your private key and can take out funds. Once you store that somewhere safe, then you basically are now in the rewards pool and you're earning AP tokens. So whenever you want to come out and withdraw, you have to then go withdraw your funds back. So you put in your secret key. It's basically called a note here. You put in a address. It could be any address you generate using your Ledger or MetaMask or whatever, wherever you want to send your ETH to. And it sends that. Then they take the amount of time you added liquidity to their mining program. So in this case, let's say you do it for a month or whatever. You come here. And where's the formula? Yeah, so here's their formula, right? So for their, it's kind of complex, but basically they're taking, so the virtual currency is the amount of TORN they've allocated in the program for mining times the blocks and the duration you're in, minus how much other TORN tokens other people have withdrawn, right? Then they go through all this, right? But basically, from following the Telegram group, I think the APY has been fluctuating. Actually, let me see if I can find out what the API has been. So that's why kind of being in the Telegram groups. So if you go to the Tornado Cash Telegram group and just search for APY, people have been keeping track on what the reward has been. Let me see if I can find the recent APY. Okay, so last message I'm seeing here on the 16th, APY was basically 190% APY in TORN tokens. So somebody was saying it's paying out 6,500 per week. I'm not sure if that's to everybody or just to him. Okay, this person says 100 Ethereum deposited for 7 days, generated 18 million AP minus relayer fee equals 17.8 million AP. Even at 1 million AP per TORN rate, we're looking at 17.8 million TORN per week, which equals 6,500 USD per week, or basically 340,000 per year. At current prices, that represents a 190% APY. So basically over 100% APY for being for joining the mining program. So I said, you know what? Let me dabble in this a little bit, you know? So I did. Now, because of the limitations of the program, I mean, 100 ETH is a lot of money, especially for something that's, because going back to the formula here, right? All this depends on how much, so it's kind of a gamified system. So if we come back here, let me go through this, right? Because it has to be anonymous. There's a better explanation somewhere. Yeah, so unfortunately, there's some irreducible complexity. it's impossible to know how much AP will get generated over the course of their program, since it's private. So it fluctuates. So, but after, basically, the way I'm looking at this is, don't be in this program past the 1 year, because otherwise, because it ends. But I think towards the end, a lot more people will be looking to withdraw. So the fees will likely, so the API will decrease. Actually, hold on. So that's the other way around, actually. As people withdraw, it actually increases. Anyway, scratch that. Either way, though, the program, I think, is going to be lucrative, but it is kind of complex. That's why, once again, I don't think putting in everything makes sense ever. So basically, I like Tornado Cash. I know I've kind of been rambling, but I like it because if this stays at the same level, over 100% APY in their mining program here, and I'm also getting 107% through SushiSwap, and I'm getting 70% through 1inch. I'm getting money different ways, right? Passive income, multiple streams of income with one crypto. Now, obviously, this I'm kind of hedging everything, right? Because this was the highest when I joined. It was 283%. However, it fluctuates, and then same thing with this. Like, this is high now, but this could fluctuate and go down, and 1inch could be higher, right? And then this, though, I think the Anonymity Mining program could be the most lucrative one, and that one, I think less people even know about that, right? So actually, maybe not, because I know I saw a message that they do have over 500,000. Because I shared this with our customers in our private alerts group. Let me pull this up. Like, the on-chain data on Tornado Cash is very good. Lots of people were already using it, but let me find the message I shared. So actually, there was a message here on Twitter from Kirby. Let me see if I can bring this up on the screen. Okay, sorry, give me 1 sec. Somebody was texting me. I want to bring this onto this other screen here. All right, so Blue Kirby, he's pretty popular in the crypto space. Worked with who was early in year-end finance, a team member or something. But anyway, he actually did a pretty good write-up on Tornado Cash on the investment thesis. Right, so we just pull this up here. So this got my attention on the mining program, right? Because when he posted this, currently Torn mining was estimated at 667% APR. Right now, this was posted on the 11th. Then obviously this cannot be sustained, but it fluctuates, right? So I think long term this could actually be higher as more people withdraw when the program is almost over. The rate could be higher to incentivize people to add even more liquidity. But anyway, the most recent number I would use, though, is probably the over 100% APR or APY. But anyway, pretty good argument or thesis for it. Obviously, I'm already bullish on this as well. So they've gone through 7 total audits. Vitalik is also bullish on it, active user of the protocol based on the tweets I shared earlier. But here's the on-chain data, right? So looking at this is from Dune Analytics. Where is it? Over 100,000 ETH in the pool. They have. Is there an up-to-date link I can use? Sorry. But anyway, I saw something saying, was it over 500,000? I mean, over 500 million. But anyway, on-chain data for this is good. I can't find the link for this right now. Let me see if I can get it on Dune Analytics. Dune Analytics Tornado Cash. Let's see if this comes up. Yeah, so yeah, here's our project dashboard for Tornado Cash. So hopefully this has more real-time data. Okay, yeah, so this is much better. Okay, so deposits. Actually, this is probably good to bookmark for the mining program. because you can know when try to game it. So looking at this, like on the 8th, $135 million deposited, 50 million withdrawn. Then here, 113 million, 70 million withdrawn. So you can actually use this. This is weekly though. You can use this to try to figure out the formula, right? Because here you know that T withdrawn is the amount withdrawn here, and then you have the block duration. This is the blocks, right? This is you're earning. Let's say you put 10 ETH, right? 50 AP per block. You put in the maybe like a rolling average of the withdrawal number, or maybe the most recent one, and you can actually try to calculate this. And this we know was 1 million tokens over 1 year, right? So we have basically 1 million times the length, how many blocks you're in, and duration, times the amount, which is in this case, let's say 70 million, which then gives you this. You get this times all this other math. So I mean, it is possible, but requires some math. But I think the mining program can be very lucrative. So that's why I'm doing everything. So that's why I'm very bullish on Torn. Tech-wise, it's also good, and it can grow in value. Okay, but anyway, let's go to a different question here. Okay, let's see what questions we have. Medium says, Ian, the master of crypto. Back in the days, I invested 30 USD in Icon because of you. It went to 3,000 USD. Oh man, that's what's up. That's a moon
We just
Lambo.
landed on the moon in the Lambo.
Hey, just thank you for being an early member. We appreciate you. Always love hearing the stories. I hope you cashed out and took some profits. Okay, let's see here. Okay, lots of questions like this. Okay, so Bruce Kai says, if you could only invest in one altcoin long term, which would it be? Ethereum. But I mean, at this point, I don't think Ethereum is really an altcoin. I think Bitcoin will be the altcoin, but that's something I can cover elsewhere. If I had to choose one altcoin long term, so basically, if I had to bet the house and go all in on one, so you're telling me if I sold all my crypto and went into one altcoin, oh man, Helium network. I mean, if I was going to go all in, but I would also hedge, right? Because I'll basically become a Helium miner, or patron is called, I believe, right? Let me find that. I know people who are doing this. I know somebody who in New York, actually in our private group, he has like 50 hotspots, I think, all over New York, like with businesses. So let me just find this real quick. Helium network patron. It's a patron program. But basically what people are doing is they're buying a bunch of hotspots, going to local businesses and telling them, here, install this hotspot in your premises, and we'll give you a revenue share, right? And these people are actually, in my opinion, kind of savage. I mean, they'll be like, we'll give you 20% of the HNT tokens and mines. You don't have to worry about anything. We handle all the technical stuff, even though it's just plug and play, right? And they're making money. I mean, it's I thought about it, but to me, it's the hands-on, grounds on the feet on the ground business or hustle. So if you're into that, for me, I like economies of scale. I like things that are passive, where I can just dial the next without having to do much. But if you're mining it and you want to go all into one, that makes sense. So let me actually bring up this screen here. Okay, so there used to be a page for this. I'm not sure if it's still there. Yeah, so helium.com/community looks like there's a page. So pulling this up here, let's just give it a second. If you're enjoying the stream, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, share this with your friends. Okay, so yeah, helium.com/community. Where is that? Yeah, become a patron. Own your city. Helium is encouraging leaders to deploy coverage at scale with the help of their local networks and Helium communities. So if we go here, click on that. Okay, yeah, helium.com/mine is the site. Basically, yeah, because if I'm going to go all into one project, first of all, it's undervalued, and it has massive potential. Right now, it's just decentralized IoT network, but I think once they solve that, they can become decentralized internet, like all these blockchains running on Helium. I think that would be pretty big and pretty cool. Plus, it's something that I know if I'm going to go all into one thing, it's stable. I'm mining it. Honestly, I'm just buying devices and just installing them and mining, and I think the ROI on that can be big, right? Because like the hotspot I bought, I think, and I was when I got it, I was in the middle of nowhere in Maryland. Not middle of nowhere. I was like half an hour outside of DC in the suburbs, but there wasn't the closest Helium hotspot next to me was about 7 miles away because I was very early, and I still recouped my investment in HNT tokens at that time when the price was low, like at 20 cents, in like 6 months. At current levels, obviously it's a lot more, but basically, Helium has done a 20x since then because it's now $4. So I was mining it when it was under 20 cents. I wasn't earning much, but still, with this current price, it's good. So imagine, like, let's say you're making $2,000 a month with one hotspot in a big city like New York or Austin or whatever, right? So if you take that and you buy 100 hotspots, put them across different parts of Austin or the city, and you connect them, you're printing money. So 2 times 100 is 200 grand a month. And you go to these local businesses. Let's say you go to all the gyms, all the yoga studios, all the restaurants. You say, here, I'll install this for you, and I'll give you, well, I'll pay you, right? I'll pay you, let's say $500 a month, or even $100 a month. I mean, so you have to kind of like that kind of business. For me, I'm kind of more behind the scenes, more software based, not really kind of on the ground. But if you like it, if you've done like a brick and mortar business and you understand that business and you can talk and sell and pitch people and sell them, it makes sense, right? So if I had to go all in on one, I would do Helium because it just takes time. So you buy the hotspots. So let's say a hotspot is, because if we go to, right, yeah, hotspots are here, right? Let's say you buy all these hotspots here. Let's see. So indoor is how much? Because now they have all these third-party manufacturers creating hotspots. So there's one for indoor and outdoor. Let's say it's $400. You buy 10 of those, right? So $4,000. You go to 10 businesses, right? Or even if you have 10 friends, some people are just doing friends. Your friend's not in crypto? This is how you get them into crypto. I mean, so if you have 10 friends in the city, you tell them, here, you have Wi-Fi, install this hotspot. I'll give you 20%, or I'll pay you $500 a month, or $100. Let's say anywhere from $100 to $500 a month, just to have this in your crib. And you do that, and you're making money, and Helium keeps on going up. I mean, that's honestly that's probably the move. I didn't think about that, and I've thought about it, but answering an earlier question somebody said about if you're a newbie trying to get into crypto and get 1,000x, I mean, you could just mine, just buy a bunch of devices, install them. This one is $357 on Libra. You basically buy this, go to all your friends, not in crypto, but they have internet. You plug it in at their place, and you share the profits with them. Whether it's 20%, you get 80, whether it's 50-50, whatever works. But that could be a way, because imagine if you were doing that. I mean, because the person in our private community who's doing this in New York City, where they're printing money, and he has like 50 devices and like different local businesses. I mean, he must be on cloud 9 with a Helium at over $4. So that's what I would do. But because it's hard to lose money, because I'm not even investing. I'm just buying the device, and you recoup the investment, right? But let's say I wanted to do a different approach, not mining Helium. What other project would I do? Oh, wow. To go all in on one project besides Ethereum or Helium? That's let me actually go through my portfolio and see which ones I really like that much. Yeah, let's see here. I like Matic, but Matic is a layer 2 chain working on Ethereum. Trying to go after Polkadot and Cardano. I mean, maybe Matic, but I began staking even more Matic after I bought more. Tornado is good for privacy, but it's on Ethereum. I feel like you got to go with a chain. Honestly, yeah, this is tough. It's tough to say. MR I like, but it's insurance. I'm not sure if it's as big as a layer 1 chain. Filecoin, I like long term. LDO staking on Ethereum, I like it, but I don't think I would go all in on that. Honestly, 1inch exchange. I mean, this is the future because it makes sense. Exchanges, DEXs, it aggregates everything. The success of Uniswap translates to the success of 1inch exchange. So if I had to go all in on one, I would do that. I'll deal from everything on their site. That's probably the one I would do. But not financial advice. Once again, I don't recommend going all in on everything because you get wrecked. I mean, simple as that. That's why I say 5% of your portfolio max in good projects. And that's good projects, not like shitcoins, good projects. But yeah, if I had to do one, I would do 1inch exchange. Good question, though. Good question. Okay, let's keep it going. Okay, so Shiva Surfer says, I know you say 1%, but for most of us, that will get us nowhere. Actually, wrong. That will save you from getting wrecked. I mean, I told you. I've heard of stories, people putting in 50% of the portfolio into one project, getting wrecked, rug pulled, because there's so many risks. And that's why people left crypto during the bear market, because they got wrecked. But you want to avoid ever getting wrecked. Nothing should ever wreck you. So 1%, I think you're viewing it the wrong way. It's not 1%. Yes, it's 1% into one investment, but you're making several bets. If I told you this, here, you have 100 bets to put 1%. Let's say you have $1,000 and you can put 1%, right? You can put basically $10 into any of these other projects. I mean, we had somebody here talk about Icon, right? They put what, $30 into Icon, got $3,000. I mean, so imagine, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to survive, survival of the fittest. And basically, let's say $1,000, you put in $10 into 100 bets, and you put in those bets. Once you do that, let's say one does a 10x, because what you're trying to do is kind of like test the waters. Once you find a winner, then you can double down even more, right? But the reason I say 1% is because you guys are trading. You guys are following pump and dumps. These products might make money now, but they will dump. That's why, I mean, people forget the dump and pump and dump. They think it's just pumping and pumping and pumping, but eventually it's going to dump. And this is a quote that's true in all markets. Crypto, equities, it's basically this. Markets go up in an escalator and come down in an elevator. So markets will baby step all the way up, pumping nice and slow. But when they dump, you can go through the entire gains you had in like one day, right? So like imagine like last year, market, when America closed down the borders for COVID, crypto altcoins dropped 40% in one day. So imagine you're going nice and up 5%, 10% a day over like a week or two, or even a month. Let's say a project is up 40% in 1 month. You can lose all 1 day or half a day even. So at 1%, if you're speculating, that's what you have to do. Now, you can do more than 1%. You can do 5%, I said, if you're fundamentally investing, meaning that you're willing to wait long-term, wait years for this project to do well. Like imagine Chainlink comes out and you're investing in the ICO, or let's say some IDO, and you've done your research, you've gone through the analysis, whether through tokenmetrics or your own analysis and research. You spend basically hours and hours of research just on this project, and you understand it in and out, back to front, and you say, you know what, 5 years from now, this is going to be a top 20 market cap project like Helium, right? Then you can put 5% because you've done your research. But if you haven't done squat and you're just watching some YouTuber or some Telegram group and you're just following into it because this is the talk of town. Everyone is my chair. Everyone is talking about this, and you don't really get the project. That's how you get wrecked, because not knowing your research will wreck you. If you've done your research, nothing wrecks you because you've gone through the entire checklist. You believe in this project long term. You're there on an island. That's how you survive, right? So when I say 1%, because you're speculating, you've done no research. Let's say a project launches with no code review, right? There's no code, nothing's open source. You're just going in because the hype, the FOMO, PancakeSwap, or this Binance Smart Chain, the FOMO. These two YouTubers talked about it. They pumped it, or it has to pump. You go in there with half your portfolio, and then Trump says, you know what? Crypto is a security, or let's say SEC says crypto is a security, or let's say, you know what? We enter a recession. Let's say randomly, what happened in 2008. Let's say Goldman Sachs goes belly up, right? Goes bankrupt, and that crashes equities, which then crashes Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then altcoins. Then you're wrecked. Nobody cares about that YouTuber who pumped it when Goldman Sachs is going bankrupt. So something that is not tied to crypto messed up crypto. Because if you notice, when crypto or Bitcoin is crashing, so basically altcoins are strongly correlated with Ethereum. And Ethereum is still strongly correlated with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, for a while, was strongly correlated with the VIX, with the volatility index and equities, right? Until it kind of decoupled. But after March last year, for a few months, it was strongly, because there was a liquidity crisis and crunch. So, it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Things that don't affect crypto will still affect crypto, which you have to factor into your analysis. That's why I say if you're speculating, it's nice when you're making those gains, but when the music stops, and anything could make it to stop. Last year, Trump made the music stop in crypto without even caring for crypto, because when the American economy closes, people go home. Money is drained out. So that's why I say 1% will protect you from getting wrecked. And if you find winners, then you can maybe double down. But I think if you want to do more than 1%, you have to do research in those projects and know what you're investing in. Somebody who's just FOMO pumping projects is not going to know that, hey, Tornado Cash has this formula here. All right, where's that blog post I had, right? This formula here that if you actually go through the math, the APY is actually over 100%, right? Initially, it was over 600%. Right now, it's probably between 100 to 200% APY. And if we go to 1 inch, here it's actually decreasing to 69% now. And if we go to SushiSwap, they have it here for 107%, right? Like somebody who's following pump and dumps has no idea all these different things are available, and has no idea. If you just do research, we just did now. There's a dashboard here on doing analytics that shows you the withdrawals happening on a weekly basis, which you can then use to factor into this equation to then manually calculate on yourself when doing research, and have an idea of, hey, I'm seeing withdrawals are actually decreasing. So this formula is probably going to actually give out more torn over the next week. So maybe I should hodl, right, in this pool or this mining program. So all these things you only know if you're doing, I'm sorry, my screen didn't appear. Okay, let me go through that again. Okay, there we go. So basically I'm saying you won't know that, hey, this equation here, right, just by doing research we did here, there's a dashboard that's open source and public that tracks the actual withdrawals, which you can then use to plug into this formula you found from going through their blog and doing your own research, right? And then you can manually calculate this yourself to have an idea on when to enter and exit this mining program. This is game we just gave away on this show. If you're holding this token, this is something I think could be this dashboard here, because now you know, hey, if I'm going to withdraw, when's a good time? And having all this information here, right? Knowing that hey, doing research, you discovered, hey, Vitalik is in Torn, or hey, these other big people are in Torn. Hey, all this you will not know just not doing your own research, right? That's why I say when you can do your own research, then you can take those big bets. But even the bets are 5%, right? So that's what I would do, because I know it works because I've done this myself. That's how I made my first million in crypto. I wasn't going out there betting the house. Now, I was betting a lot more. I was betting 10%, not 5%. But even then, that's because I had a nice job at IBM making almost $500,000. So, I mean, I could afford to lose some money, right? But if you're investing smart, like let's say you're a college student, like my brother, I'm getting, he's now into crypto. He has pretty much Coinbase coins. And I'm like, okay, if you want to make some money, DeFi is good, but the fees are too high. Okay, let's look at PancakeSwap and Binance Smart Chain. But I don't trust anything on Binance Smart Chain. It's centralized. The quality is not that good. They're just forking projects on DeFi, on Ethereum DeFi. So I don't want to marry anything on Smart Chain, but I will trade or speculate in it, right? Pump and dumps. If you're going to do that, know what you're getting into, and basically don't put more than 1%. So let's say you have $1,000, I'll put $10, right? Or let's say you want to be even more risky. Okay, let's say you do 10%. I'm sorry. Let's say you do 5%. I would not recommend it, because the stories I hear, lots of people get wrecked. But let's say you're a big man, big woman, you know, put on your big pants, and you say, you know what, I have $2,000. I don't care if I lose it all. Okay, maybe you do 5%, 10%. But if you lose it all, I mean, don't come to me, right? But anyway, because that's just proper portfolio and risk management, right? So with my brother, who's in college, I basically, actually what I tried to do initially was buy him a hotspot. I bought him a hotspot, sent it to his college, but man, his college, their firewall blocks the Helium hotspot from mining. So I was like, damn. I mean, how the hell they know that? But I'm guessing their firewall just blocks anything that tries to access some port. And we even tried to kind of like use like a hotspot router to go in between and see if that wasn't blocked, but that didn't work. But anyway, that's what I would do. I mean, so 1%, if you want to do more than that, that's fine, but you have to be willing and ready and able and comfortable losing it all without crying, right? Because lots of people say, hey, I'll go all in, or I'll do 50%, but then cry when they lose money. And I mean, if you're crying, I mean, honestly, crying when it comes to investing or trading or speculation means you didn't have good risk management. That's all it means. Going back to what I said earlier, we're financial athletes playing a game of science. And I said, science, Mother Nature, does not care about your emotions. If you don't learn good risk management, the market won't care if you're crying. I mean, even professionals, the market won't care. If, like Melvin Capital with GameStop, their short position was too high, and they got wrecked by Wall Street bets, and they had to lose money. I think they lost like 30% of their fund just on that position, just in one position, one short, by Wall Street bets. But guess what? The market does not care, because we're financial athletes playing a game of science, so meaning that you have to learn these laws of, I mean, like treat the laws of investing and trading like laws of physics. If you don't learn them, you will not be successful. You might do it short term, but long term, you will not, because eventually the laws of physics, like you might defy them briefly, but eventually, I mean, they catch up to you. But anyway, that's my rant. Okay, let's find a different question here. What kind of coins do I buy with MetaMask? I mean, MetaMask is basically for Ethereum-based tokens, ERC20 tokens. Let's see here. Okay, people talking about Banker. Okay, Bruce says super chat, 2 USD at ADA or Link or LTC, pick one. Long term, Litecoin, not long term. Litecoin is honestly garbage. Don't tell Charlie Lee I told you that. But Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin, and not much development is on there. I think it's like one person, and the owner, I mean, or the founder of the project doesn't even have the tokens anymore, so he has no vested interest in the success of the project. Link or ADA, I'll probably pick Chainlink. Cardano has good tech, but Chainlink, because I'm part of the Ethereum ecosystem. I like Ethereum. But Cardano, I mean, good tech, like top 10 technology wise. But I don't really know any developers building on it, and they haven't launched yet. So, but I mean, if you had to take an asymmetric bet and say, okay, if you're going to invest in one thing, you'd probably take the layer 1 blockchain over the infrastructure protocol, Chainlink. But I just believe so much in Ethereum that I'd rather take a layer 2 infrastructure project like Chainlink over a layer 1 protocol that ends up losing to Ethereum. That's kind of my take on that. Okay, is it a tumbling service? Yes. Yeah, so Tornado Cash is a tumbling service for Ethereum with a token, governance token. Okay, let's see here. Question from, let me get some. Just give me 1 second. Wow, we've been going for a while, almost 2 hours. Back-to-back live streams. If you're enjoying the live stream, be sure to smash the like button and share this with your friends. You have to go home and get some dinner. Okay, all right, let's see here. Biz says, what would you do if you started with 20K now with the knowledge you have? I mean, same thing I've kind of been saying in the last 2 live streams. 20K now, I take 20K, buy Ethereum, skip Bitcoin, get that $20,000 in Ethereum, and then I do my research on projects, and I'm putting 5% into each investment, right? So let me kind of go through that math real quick. So we take 20 grand. So basically putting 1 grand investment. So you make 20 $1,000 investments. But the thing about this, you have to be patient. It's because you already have ETH. Everything is in ETH. ETH is going to 10x. So you're good on that. So 20 grand turns to 40 grand. And you want to find the right projects like I covered here in the show, Amor, which is low market cap. So I would just do that. So let's say because you have to be patient. You're basically a batter up at bat, waiting for those home runs. And I think a 10x is a home run. Ideally, 1,000x, 100x is even better. That's a grand slam. Walk-off grand slam is 1,000x. But those don't come around all the time. And they take time. Because imagine this. Imagine you take $1,000, put that into like Binance, BNB when it launched. I mean, 7,000x return if CoinGecko is right. Let me just, how much is that? Let me, I mean, this is God level numbers here we're talking about. So let me just let me pull up my screen here. Right. So because here's the thing, if you find the right project, you are set. Like imagine you put 1 grand into BNB during the ICO. Or heck, let's say you just bought the dip on the exchange. Let's say you did your research. You're like, you know what? This is the one. Where are the returns? Right, 3 years. Right, if we take off the last 2 digits, almost 7,000x. Yeah, price kind of went down today, but you basically got in all-time low on exchanges. Actually, 3 cents. I went almost 4 cents, basically 4 cents to 274. So let's say what. $1,000 times. Let's see what else should I show. Let's see here. So 1 grand in BNB. If you just bought that and hodled, I mean, $7 million. That is life changing. But guess what? You won't get those gains if you're trying to day trade BNB. I mean, yes, you get nice gains, but the walk-off grand slam home run, where, I mean, so imagine you put like 10 grand into this, if your portfolio was larger, right? But anyway, your goal is to just 10x your portfolio. That should be the goal. Not 100x, not 1,000x. You get 20 grand, you 10x that to 200 grand. You get 200 grand, you 10x that to 2 million. You take 2 mil, you 10x that to 20 million. Right, so don't try going out there trying to swing for the fences with a walk-off grand slam. The grand slam comes from just do 10x flips, basically. 10x flips is what I would do. So I have 20 grand. I would find projects that are low cap, to recap, low cap, I would say 30 million or less is ideal, but I would say at worst under 50 million market cap. I mean, at this level of your portfolio, with 20 grand, making 1 grand bets, find low cap projects like AMR, I covered before, right? Benchmark. This is under 30 million. This is 17 million. Like, these are the projects, right? These are the projects you want. Honestly, yield farming might be tough because of the gas. Right? I'm not sure what it would be, but sometimes, like, honestly, the yield farming fees might be worth it if you're gonna get into a low cap project, like let's say benchmark protocol or something, right? That does a 10x. So I would just kind of do the math on that, right? Let's say, let's say you put in 1 grand. Are you willing to pay $100 in fees? I'm not sure what the fees would be on that to do that transaction. Like, actually, let's see if we can we do this here? Anyway, I'm not sure what the fees would be on that. But if you're saying, okay, you know what? If I'm earning 230% on this in AMR, and I think it's going to do a 10x, maybe the fees are worth it, right? So do that calculus on your own, figure that out. But that's what I would do. So if I had 20 grand, I would make 5% into projects. First of all, I'll join Tokenmetrics. But honestly, let's say not even that. I'll just watch our videos. They're free. We've done 2 live streams tonight for free, giving away pretty much everything, the strategy. Right? Take that strategy and just execute on it. Right? 5% investment of your portfolio into 20 projects, 1 grand each with 20 grand, making sure that they only have code reviews over 80% with a market cap under 30 million, and do that 20 times. Then sit back, look at the returns, and I'm pretty sure, obviously not guaranteed, if you're patient enough, your portfolio would do more than 10x. Then out of those, take profits, sell like 20%. Then let's say you've gone from 20 grand to 200 grand. Now doing the same thing. Now we're putting in 10 grand into 20 investments. Keep on doing that. Turn that from 200 grand to 2 million. Now we're putting 100 grand into 20 investments. And you keep on rising up to different levels. But as you get larger, you notice that now you can do the big boy stuff, the yield farming on DeFi. Right? The Ethereum, all that. Now you're making passive money. But now you also have to factor in liquidity, because now if you have 2 million in your portfolio and you're investing 100 grand, you have to make sure like these coins are liquid for you to sell 100 grand on a flip of a dime if the market changes on you, if needed be, right? So as a result, that's why it's tough, right? Because with me, like, that's why private sales can't really do that. Because if I invest, like the last private sales I was doing, I was investing like 150 grand. Like, imagine I put 150 grand into Sparkster, into Pixio Chain, like all these projects. I mean, I made good money on private sales like Icon and others, but if I put 6 figures into a private sale and it launches on a DEX and there's no liquidity there, I mean, on a DEX, that makes you like a whale. Like, for example, if we go to, let me pull up my screen again here. So if we go to like benchmark protocol, right? That's why liquidity ratio is a good metric to know, because trading volume on here is basically 900 grand. So 10% of that is 90 grand. So ideally, you should not be buying more than 90 grand worth of this on any given day. Ideally you want to buy 5 or 10%. I'm sorry, if you're planning to sell, you want to make sure 5 or 10% is the threshold. So don't sell anything more than that. So let's say 90 grand. So between 45 to 90 grand is the most you should sell in a day for this without really impacting the price too much. But nowadays, DEXs give you that slippage calculation for you. But basically, you want it to be max 5%. So let's say you go into a private sale with 100 grand or 150 grand or 200 grand, but you can only sell at most 90 grand. You have to like sit there every single day trying to make trades or whatever on the DEX. I mean, I'm working. I don't have time for that. So that's why, for me, it's a lot easier to find products already on exchanges, or to just make small bets. Like the people I know who are doing IDOs, they're basically just putting in like they put in like $500 to make what 15 grand. I mean, that's good. I mean, you can do that, right? But that's if you're beginning with smaller amounts. But anyway, that's what I would do if I was beginning with 20 grand and using the knowledge I have. Basically, don't think of 100x's. Think of 10x's. It's like you're there, you're trying to just get on base. Like I would say a walk-off Grand Slam is 1,000x. A Grand Slam is 100x. Then I would say a home run is a 10x. So think 10x's, because if you are finding good projects with code review over 80%, low cap, one of those, let's say you make all those 20 investments, they do 10x on average. That's good. But one of them might do 1,000x. And you're basically taking 20 bets to do 1,000x, but your goal is a 10x. So that's the mindset. Okay, let's see here. I'm invested in Rect a few times, learning from 2018 bear market. Okay, OWeb TV says, what strategy do you suggest for a person that wants to invest $500 monthly and win big this year? Oh, $500 monthly. Honestly, okay, if I'm gonna do $500 monthly, basically dollar cost averaging, I'll just buy ETH $500 every single month. And then with that, and win big, I guess what's big? 10x? Honestly, just buy ETH. I mean, is what I would do. Then from there, I can look into same approach, right? So $500 and maybe take part of that and do like one investment a month if it's available, right? And from there, basically, if you're looking for, I think in this bull run, we are finding good enough projects with good technology and code reviews. We can find minimum one each month. It was tougher before in the bear market, but now that the market's more mature, we're finding them like benchmark AMR. We're finding actually one each week, even more, right? So I think it's possible. Okay, but yeah, that's what I would do. I would kind of ETH, and ETH is your stablecoin, basically. A stablecoin, but like ETH is your store of value. Like that's not my mindset. Ethereum is my store of value, and I take some ETH from there, and I make these bets with these other altcoins on Ethereum, looking to do a 10x, and I then take profits, get more ETH, and keep on doing, right? I'm just trying to do a 10x on my portfolio. Okay, how can we learn markets? I would say read books, take a course. The free way, I would say get books on TA, read those books on investing. The books I recommend for investing, if you're a value investor, fundamental investor, let me pull the book here. Anything by Howard Marks. I mean, he's a genius. If you just go to Amazon, I think it's called The Most Important Thing. That book, honestly, is a classic. I read that last year, right? If I had read that book before crypto, oh man, I would have been even better. I mean, so let me pull up this book here. Anything by Howard Marks, I highly recommend, right? So The Most Important Thing looks like this. It's basically, he's a fundamental long-term value investor, right? So people who like to buy and hold for the long term, kind of like Warren Buffett. So this is like the Bible for value investing, I would say. I gave this book to my younger brother in college last year to read. So this, The Most Important Thing. He has some other books. What's the other book? But I like this one more than the other, Howard Marks. Mastering the Market Cycle is also pretty good. But I like this one even better because this is kind of like all the rules, right? But this one is pretty good as well. What's a different investing book I can recommend? I mean, because I'm more of a value investor. Bill has one he likes for TA that he has recommended before in the past. But anything by Howard Marks, I would read that. Actually, there's one. I think it's called Portfolio Optimization. I can pull this up here on my Audible. That would be a lot easier. And tell you the ones I really like. So, actually, I mean, I like books by Nassim Taleb. They're pretty good. Like the Black Swan. I mean, not is it Black Swan? Like his Black Swan books. Yeah. Which one? Not the Partnership. Oh, the Intelligent Asset Allocator. It's a good one on portfolio management. That's the one I was looking for. Intelligent Asset Allocator. This is actually a quick read. You can finish this in like a day. But basically, good book on portfolio and asset allocation. Okay, not sure what that is. But yeah, this book I recommend. Good overview on portfolio allocation, and then anything by Howard Marks. So that's what I would do to learn markets. Actually, markets, yeah, mastering the market cycle. And then the title has markets. He basically actually let me pull up. There's a chart on that. Mastering the market cycle. Yeah, so this is kind of like that famous crypto chart, but this is from the book. Actually, that's not what I wanted though. Yeah, but this book gives you perspective as to why value investing and thinking long term is the way to go, right? Like looking at this chart here, right? You as a value investor, you want to buy here, sell here, buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. Right? That's how you get the Binance 7,000x returns, right? Buy low, sell high. But right to get the returns, so basically to sum up value investing, you want to buy when everyone is selling. You want to buy when people think this is going to zero. It's the end of the world. Time to get out. Hence, you want to buy crypto last year on Black Thursday when Bitcoin was down 30%, when Ethereum was down 40% and also down 40%. I mean, I was like, oh man, it's Christmas. Like pack up. We're buying everything. Buy the dip. Hey, who's selling? I'm buying. Like that's the mindset. And now, once you've made money, you want to sell to optimists, to people who believe this is going to the moon and beyond. This is the best thing ever. This is the future. There's no way this can go to zero. So if anything, you're taking profits now, honestly. I mean, basically, you bought Bitcoin under 4K when it was basically 3K, and Bitcoin at 57K, you're taking profits. You're not selling everything, but let's say that was the trade you made or investment you made. You bought Bitcoin at 3,000 on Black Thursday, and Bitcoin is now $57,000. You haven't sold it. What I would do, I would take 20% off the table, right? So you're basically taking 20 grand. You turn 3 grand into 20 grand, and you still have 80% left for the upside, right? But you're taking profits on the way up. That's what value investors do. So value investors would have bought it on Black Thursday and will be selling now, honestly. Not everything, but taking profits. But this book kind of gives you that perspective on market cycles. I highly recommend it. This is a different chart, though. This is more of a technology adoption. Okay, back to the questions. What time is it? Oh, it's 10 a.m. I mean, 10 p.m. Okay, yeah. Anyway, I think we're gonna have to end the stream there. We've gone on for 2 hours. Hope you all enjoyed it. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, share this with your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend. If you like these super overtime AMAs, we can do a lot more of them. But yeah, hope hope there was value in all of this, because I mean, not being in crypto at this point is a financial crime, right? So trying to give the education out there for free. But if you like this, definitely recommend you join Tokenmetrics. We are working on launching Tokenmetrics TV. So imagine having like a daily show by me, whether it's half an hour, kind of like this, going through the markets, just more strategy. Bill can do the TA. We have like our newsletter and our team kind of doing the coin picking basically, and then also the site for the ratings, but kind of more like philosophy, strategy, like big picture stuff. That's what I enjoy talking about the most. So hope you all liked it, and I'll see you next weekend. And as we like to say,
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
the moon is not the limit to the moon and beyond. Just make sure you're cashing out 20% on the way up. I'll see y'all next weekend. Thank you. Actually, I don't even know how to end this here. Okay, there